Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wanted peace right now, then do we have the Instant Calm show for you. Today I'll be talking with Karen Salmansohn, best-selling author, award-winning designer, and social media maven, and the author of a sensory-stirring book on calming you down, Instant Calm. And that's just what I want to talk with her about today, about 2-minute meditations to create a life of happy. That, plus we'll talk about a platonic crush on Aristotle. Gotcha. Mr. Magoo Syndrome. Being blessed by Madonna. Who in the world was Prince Harming? Oh. Faux fur blankets, pleasantly plumb and well-read, MTV Go Stopless, the power of the cross sandwich, and what in the world a Havanese dog Fluffy has to do with anything. So welcome to the show, Karen. Are you ready to shine?
I am definitely ready to shine. I'm even wearing my little sparkly jacket.
I love it. Woohoo!
Shining already, yeah.
All right, what does a sparkly jacket have to do with a 2-minute meditation? And what's your favorite 2-minute meditation?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, wow, you summed me up very well in that intro. I'm very impressed. That's great.
Thank you.
So, I've always been a big meditator for a long time now, and I am now a mom. I'm a late in life mom. I'm going to pull all the pieces back together, and all the little dots.
And we're gonna have to ask, hey, Fluffy.
He heard his name. He's like, was I mentioned in that intro? He's video bombing me.
I love it.
Okay,
And since we've been through this year, and it's been a learning, we've been through 2 miscarriages ourselves this year. We're definitely interesting to hear any positivity that you have to share.
I know, I'm so sorry. My heart goes out to you, and from a place of true understanding and empathy, because it was a long, zigzagging journey to become a mom. And I definitely encourage you not to lose faith, to keep hope, because I had my kid I got pregnant at 49 and popped him out at 50, and he's healthy and he's peppy and he's fantastic and he's a great kid. And so keep going.
Thank you. So you started doing 2-minute meditations as a mom?
So what happened was I had my son, and he is a lively one. And in fact, I laughed to myself because I think that any child being that would come into the belly of a 50-year-old woman is very willful. So he's very willful, and he's got a lot of energy. And when he was about 5, 6 or whatever, I used to say to him, breathe, right? And he would say, Mom, every time you say breathe, that just makes me more stressed out because I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do it. So I said, meditate. And then he heard that word and he just sounded like, boring to him. So I decided I had to make meditation fun.
Yeah. So
this is how I wound up writing my book, Instant Calm, and how I developed these 2-minute meditations. So the first one that I created for him was one that was based on a Spider-Man pinwheel.
Cool.
So at the time, my son loved Spider-Man. Now that he's a mature 8 or 9, it's no Spider-Man, but at the time, 5, 6, Spider-Man ruled. So I got a Spider-Man pinwheel, and I said, okay, I'm going to teach you a breathing exercise. So I made it fun for him. And this is great for parents everywhere, and you will, I know, I believe in you, will be using this. I am seeing you using this at some point in the future with your child. And I held the pinwheel out, and I said, I want you to breathe and make the pinwheel spin. And breathe slowly, because I didn't want him to hyperventilate either. So, breathe for 4 seconds out, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds, and blow the pinwheel. And this worked on many levels. First of all, it was a wonderful breathing exercise, but it also became a refocusing exercise, because when you gamify something and you have an end goal with it, then you stop thinking about whatever was stressing you out, and you redirect your thoughts on must make pinwheel spin. So he was doing a breathing exercise, and also he was changing what he was thinking about. So, and I say that if you're having negative thoughts, you can't just stop them. You have to do a stop and swap. So to bring Fluffy in, I'm going to bring in everything you mentioned into the intro.
And I'm gonna throw just a cool term in here because it's
Yes.
making me think of actually a computer game. I'm only getting part of the name, something divine, which Deepak was associated with a good decade ago. It's still around, where you would put a device on your finger and make the pinwheel spin with your
Oh.
mind focusing on your breath. You just created the world's most cost-effective biofeedback device. Brain entrainment at its finest.
That's so hilarious. You're right. My goodness. I'm going to go on Amazon and repackage them as like biofeedback machines
I
for $2.
like it. And add an extra digit or two to the price.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
All right. So tell us about Stop and something and Fluffy.
Stop and swap. Stop and swap. So with Fluffy, which goes back to meditation, but for a moment I'll divert to Fluffy and then bring it back to meditation.
Yeah.
If Fluffy were chewing on my slippers and I did not want that, if I only take away the slippers and stop him, he might then go on to chew on my sneakers or chew on my high heels because he still has this urge to chew. Well, your thoughts are like that, and if you tell yourself, "Don't think about that thing," you need to do a stop and a swap because your brain wants something to chew on. So you have to give your brain something positive to chew on. If instead of just saying stop thinking that negative thought, you have to go, here, brain, think about this. So with the pinwheel example, I was saying to my son, here, Ari's brain, think about the pinwheel. And we adults also have to do that. You can't just stop your negative thoughts. You have to swap in something else, give your brain something else to chew on.
So let's talk about stop and swap, or what I call the dwelling and the antidote. What do you give Fluffy when Fluffy wants to chew on shoes?
Well, if I want to stop Fluffy from chewing on shoes, I can't just stop him. I have to do a stop and a swap. I have to find something else that he will find enjoyable to chew on, like a bone. That in fact only a bone. That's the only thing that's permitted in the zone. So the same thing goes with our thoughts. If we want to stop thinking negatively, we can't just say, okay, I'm going to stop my thoughts. We have to do a stop and a swap. We have to swap in something positive to think about, like a mantra, even just the single word, forward. And I also have another single word I use sometimes, next. I kind of say it in my head like that, like next. What's the next thought?
What's your favorite bone to go to when you find your mind wants to gnaw on something?
Like the words forward, the word next. I also do, I actually have a couple things that I do. I ask myself, I stop and I say, have I thought this thought before? And then if the answer is yes, I say, have I chewed the flavor out of it? That's how I sort of think about it. Have I chewed the flavor out of this thought? It's one that I've already been over a million times. I'm like, yes. And also by chewing the flavor, what I mean when I think that is gotten all the good stuff, like the lessons, the insights. That's the flavor part, right? And then I say, okay, if there's nothing else that I can get out of this thought, then I think next, forward. I think about those things. I try to aim myself at another thought, or just even thinking the word forward or next helps to snap me out of it.
Very good. So let's go from there, and we'll call that chewing gum for the mind. When the flavor is gone, it's time to throw out the gum. Let's switch gears, and please forgive me, but let's talk about your bucket list from hell. And as we dive into this, first off, how did you get blessed by Madonna?
Ah, yes. Well, many years ago, I wrote a book with a very feisty title, and I wrote that book by accident. I used to be in advertising, so I think in like feisty titles and stuff like that, just naturally, it's a muscle that you can take the girl out of the ad agency, but you can't take the ad agency out of the girl. So I was giving a seminar in Philadelphia, where I'm from, to a bunch of women. It's a women's organization. And it was about how to pursue and snag your passions. And my agent called right before. And as a joke, I said to her, I got to go. I have to give my How to Succeed in Business Without a Penis seminar. Because there's that play, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. And my agent laughed and she said, you have to write a business book for women with that title. And then I laughed. I thought she was joking. But then she stayed on me and I wrote a book, How to Succeed in Business Without a Penis. So cut to, I'm in LA because I was also writing on TV shows and stuff like that. I lived out there for a while. And I'm at the Mondrian Hotel. And I always carried my books with me. Because you never know. So I was at a restaurant in the Mondrian Hotel, and I look over, and there's Madonna sitting there with a group of her friends. So I decide, I have my little book, my How to Succeed in Business Without a Penis book, and I had another book that I'd written. And I went over to her table, and I said to her, I really love your work. I really respect your work. I didn't want to say I'm a fan, but I wanted to give her the reverence that I know that she would want.
Respect kind of puts you on a similar level rather than you're looking up at her. I really love your work.
Yes, that's how I felt. I was very aware of my word choice because I figured I only have about 10 seconds to get and keep her attention. And also I wanted her, like you said, equal. But I mean, I didn't feel exactly equal, but at least my word choice would kind of, So I said, really respect your work. And then I said, I'm a best-selling author.
Very good.
So again, I knew I had 10 seconds. And then I know people are very visual, and I figured she was very visual. And also you want to direct their attention. So I put down the book and I said, this is one of my books. And I showed her the book with the crazy title. And she said, you wrote this book? And I said, yeah, I wrote this book. And then she said, your name is Karen Salmansohn? Like she's going to trick me. I'm like, no, I'm Karen Salmansohn. And she said, oh, I love this title. And I said, I'm writing books to help empower women. And then she grabbed my arm and she said, God bless you. So I was blessed by Madonna. And then she passed the table.
Very cool. Going from Madonna, and we're going to dive into all of the challenges here, but one more that I found fascinating is how'd you come up with a croissant-wich?
The croissant-wich. That was an agency competition. I used to work in advertising. I worked at J. Walter Thompson. And back then, there was no name for that sandwich. And they showed us all the magical ingredients. And there was an agency competition to come up with the name. And my name, Croissant-wich, won out of everybody. So, but I don't get any money for that. I wish I got a penny or something. I'd be a very rich woman for every croissant-wich sold. I don't even get a free croissant-wich if I go in there.
Now that's crazy.
I know. Except for I get to say in interviews, and it's true. And anybody who knows me from J. Walter Thompson, they're like, oh, Karen, yes. She named the croissant-wich, so all my peers from that time know it.
Very good. And you received a Clio around that time, too.
I did, but for something different, for Kodak, for a print ad. And that I got right away, kind of my first 6 months in the business. I lucked out with coming up with a print ad, and that got a Clio right away.
This is why we've got to talk with you off air about coming up with the title for our show, for our Hollywood version of the show. Let's switch gears from there. You left advertising to write books, and you ended up in the vortex.
In the vortex, yes. A lot of good things have happened to me in my life, and a lot of very challenging things have happened to me in my life. And it seemed, I call it the vortex because it seemed like everything challenging was happening all at once. And I joke that I was waiting for a candid camera crew to pop out from behind the planter in my living room and just say that I was being punked for some reality TV show or something, but I wasn't being punked. All of these things happened. I sold an apartment and I moved to another apartment, and the real estate people tried to rip me off, and that was one thing. But then something happened in the new apartment that was a lot of things happened that were challenging, but the ultimate was that I was sexually assaulted by somebody in a new apartment building. I know this was before the Me Too movement, and it was very challenging. And I remember I called up an ex-boyfriend of mine who was a lawyer and also had remained a close friend. And I remember I said to him, "How can people be so evil?" That was my question. And he said something that really resonated with me. He said, "People aren't evil, they're weak." Mm. And what he meant by that is people know somehow or other to do the right thing, but sometimes they're just too weak. They don't put in the effort to do the right thing, and they give in to their impulses. And for some reason, think of people as weak instead of evil kind of helped me on some level. That sentence always stayed with me. It's one of those moments, you know?
Well, it's interesting that you said helped you on some level because, in a sense, this vortex or all of these negatives, I'll put them in quotes, not that there's anything good about the exact specific thing, but they all made you stronger. And you actually describe it as helping you to find the light found within.
Yes, well, everything. I do believe everything is here, that, things don't happen to us, they happen for us. I really believe that we are here on this planet to learn the lessons we need to learn to become our best self. So every time something happens, I'm like looking to, well, I guess, as I said before, chew the flavor out of it. Like, get the lesson, get the insight, grow stronger from it. One of my mantras also that I would say to chew on to stop a negative thought is, I am stronger than my challenges. My challenges are making me stronger, because I am stronger than my challenges. And then my challenges help to make me become even stronger, which is how I see the bucket list from hell. Like, all those challenging things that happened to me happened, and I gained wisdom and insight and new abilities from everything. And so thereby I am, in the end, grateful,
Woohoo!
So.
And to bring up one more challenge, and this is one that we're kind of going through ourselves. We've had 2 miscarriages in the last year. You ended up going through artificial insemination, IUI, then IVF, a miscarriage in between, and then you were having a child at 50. This does make you the champion of challenges, doesn't it?
I just didn't give up. I had a girlfriend that helped me. I'm not sure if I told you this already, but did I tell you about my laundry room intervention?
No, you did not.
Oh, okay. I had a girlfriend that helped me to stay believing. It was my girlfriend, Lisa. And I remember I was like, gonna give up. I mean, I was in my 40s, and she said, "I envision you having a child, a boy." She actually told me a boy. And she bought me a little blue stuffed animal dog that had little wheels on it and a leash. And she said, "Your little boy is going to play with this someday." So I was like, yeah. Like, I was having trouble believing her. And I was on the phone with her one day, and she was giving me my little pep talk. And I went down to the laundry room in my building to do the laundry. And I was getting the laundry out of the dryer. And in with my laundry was this little white, like, tiny little T-shirt. And I thought, oh gosh, did I just shrink one of my T-shirts? It was like really little. And then I realized it was a baby's T-shirt, and that some tired mom had like left it in the dryer by accident. And it wound up in my load of dry clothes, like the girl that wants a baby. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I see it sort of as like the universe staging an intervention for me in the laundry room. Like, don't give up. You will have a baby. Like, another thing that like was a sign. And so I at least I took it as a sign, a positive sign. And then I took the T-shirt and I brought it upstairs and I kept it in my apartment. I will have a baby. I will have a baby. And then I changed how I dated, and I was very clear in a way that I felt wasn't too scary. I would like bring it up pretty soon on dates with men, that I wanted to be in love. I wanted a happy family, but I did want to only date men that were open to having a family, but I needed to be in love because I wanted it to be a happy family. So I found a way to word it that, it didn't feel, scary for a guy to hear this very right away. But I wanted it to me, for me, it was a deal breaker. So, and I feel like women should state their deal breakers up front in a non-scary way. So I tried to do that. And then that helped me to date smarter, better. And then I got, I, you know, we did it. We did IVF and it worked. And I have a son and I feel very, very blessed. So I didn't give up.
Woohoo! And you stated, you were very clear, sort of like earlier in the show, I was talking half jokingly. We are pitching Hollywood. We are going to get a show on Netflix or Amazon. I'm convinced of this.
Great.
By saying it and by telling guys this, you're actually helping to bring it about. Let's go from there in synchronicities. And I've got a name drop here. I might even cut it out, but I have a dear friend and publicist in New York City by the name of Beth Grossman. I don't know if you know her or not, but she is the synchronicity queen.
Wow.
And so when you share the story about finding a baby boy's t-shirt, that is such a beautiful synchronicity. It's also something that you can then emblazon, you can visualize, you can focus on. So let's go from here and let's talk about sensory meditations, and then we'll get right into visual, sight meditations. What are sensory meditations?
Sensory meditations are meditations that are based on each of your five senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, sound. And sometimes they're called grounding tools. And I love them because they're fun and they're playful and they're simple and they're quick. Like you can snap yourself out of things very quickly with a sensory meditation by focusing in a kind of a playful way on one of your senses. And I've developed a bunch of these tools and I kind of like keep switching them up. So like it stays interesting to me.
So, and if we'll talk about different categories very briefly on sight ones, because that you've got to take a look at. But you have this beautiful image in your book. One side of the page is clouds. The other side is a rainbow. And if you stare at the rainbow for a minute or two, I absolutely love this, and then take your eyes over to the cloud, what happens?
Well, if you do it right and you can stop your busy chattering monkey mind, there's a little dot inside of the rainbow image. I call this med dot tate because it's a little dot. And then you stare at the white fluffy cloud, you get an optical illusion effect of the rainbow in the cloud. And it's fun. I give this to my son to do to calm him down. And there's a bunch of them besides the rainbow one. And it's a way of when you know you're going to be rewarded, you try harder. And the better you are at staring at the dot, the stronger the optical illusion. And it's a way of training your mind to master your thoughts. Just stare only at the dot, only at the dot. And because it's a game, it's easier to do than some other kinds of meditations where people don't know. Like there was one that I would do, I'd close my eyes and try to envision a flame inside of my mind, my imagination. And that one's harder, but with the dot outside of you, it's far easier. And when with the optical illusion reward, you really keep wanting to do this meditation over and over. So that's in the book as a sight meditation.
Are there any sight meditations we can do, let's say that we're outside or we're at the office and we don't have a book with us?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm a big believer that we are already doing sight meditations. We don't even know it. For example, if you go to the beach, in fact, my sister-in-law just sent me a photo of a gorgeous ocean. And she's like, I love it. I'm so relaxed here at the beach. And I'm like, she's doing a sight meditation. She doesn't even know it. She's staring at the waves in the ocean, which is a sight meditation. It's kind of hypnotic. And you're looking anything beautiful that you stare at. Artwork could be a sight meditation. So there's different ways that you could do sight meditations like that.
Beautiful.
So by accident and on purpose by accident.
And you're jumping ahead to the very end of the book. Then the meditation, the interview is done, because I'm going to jump to the very end. You talk about forest bathing. And so that can be done with all of your senses, but certainly if you go right now outside of your place, you go down to the water, all of a sudden,
Yes. Well, the sounds of nature, forest bathing, walking in the wild, hearing those sounds, immersing yourself in that, even listening to recordings of nature. You can kind of cheat and listen to recordings of nature. And that's a sound meditation, to really just focus on that, to focus on the sound. That's why people relax sometimes when you hear really good music. The more you love the song is not just the fact that you love the song, because you love the song, you're immersed in the song. If you were bored by a song, you wouldn't have that immersion. But the immersion into the song that you love keeps you from, it stops your busy chattering monkey mind. So, and there are certain songs in my book. There's a song that's so good at relaxing people that the creators of the song say, don't listen to it in your car, because it could get you so drowsy that you won't be able to stay awake while driving. So they actually have that warning. It's a song called Weightless. And it helps you to feel weightless when you listen to it, or just a beat. Even if you want to really heighten your listening to music, just try to listen to one instrument in the song. Focus on that, or one beat in the song. Give yourself that assignment to try to just key in on one sound, and that can help to, again, narrow focus you and stop your busy chattering monkey mind.
Beautiful. Since we're talking about sound meditations, we'll also talk about one that is one sound or one tone. Oh.
Yes, that's in the book. Oh, you do that you've done that before, haven't you?
Thank you. Yes, in fact, we had our dear kitty cat Bam Bam pass away years ago, got kicked by a horse when we were on Maui. And
oh my gosh.
Our healing was to go where he used to stand next to us on the lanai and watch the sunset together, and we had buried him just beneath there. And for days or weeks, we would say Om at the sunset every day. And at first, all these tears burst forward, but then it was such a healing, such a purging, such a cleansing just from that one tone.
Wow. That's great. I also have something in the book, because I do but I also have a way to multitask neuro-linguistic programming with the I don't know if you saw that one,
Calm.
but the word calm. If you say calm like
Yep.
then you get the NLP of the positive word calm mixed in with a vibration, because all of that it vibrates. That's part of the reason why scientifically it works, not just spiritually, but there's they say it's because of the vibration that it creates.
So, and can you tell us, thank you. So calm would be an example of also using NLP and sound, but it's also an example of the power of mantras. Do you have another mantra or two that would help us to calm?
Well, actually, one of the ones that I said before, I am stronger than my challenges. My challenges are making me stronger. And what's good about that, you just keep doing that one in a loop. So that's one of my go-to ones.
Another
I'm stronger
one.
than my challenges. Pardon?
Oh, no, go for it.
No, I just do that one in a loop. And I like it because it's logical. There's some logic in it. I'm like, I am stronger. And I come to believe it. It's not just something that's like sometimes I say everything's working out for me. That's one that I've said. But then what I try to do when I say that one is I then try to think of times when things have worked out for me. So I believe that it's possible for it to happen again, because I do feel like when you add logic, I say that I'm spiritual logical. I like to add a little logic in with my spirituality. So I really believe it. It helps my limiting beliefs to loosen up a little bit.
I like that, spiritual logical, and it helps calm that what I call wounded inner child, our best friend, the ego, who you do have to rationalize with and explain, here's why I'm doing this. Here's why it's going to work. Oh, okay. And then your ego comes along for the ride.
Yes, definitely.
So let's go from there, and now let's talk about what's that smell? Let's talk about scent or smell meditations. And what can you tell us about vanilla?
I love vanilla. And as it turns out, vanilla loves me right back. There was a study done with in a hospital here in New York where they took the vanilla and they put it into the MRI machines because a lot of people feel stressed out from the claustrophobia in the MRI machines. And the people that had the vanilla scent in their MRI machines were more relaxed. So they now offer this on a regular basis. So I use vanilla a lot at home. I have it. I have the essential oil. I have sprays. I go into my son's room and I spray it up for him because it's a smell that my son loves. I try to use vanilla, but my son like sneezes whenever I give him vanilla. So I use vanilla for him in his room.
Vanilla instead of what's the one he sneezes if you put in?
Lavender, but lavender is also very calming. Lavender is another good calming one.
Lavender is one that's interesting. Most people do great with lavender. Your son and myself don't do so well with it. My wife, she is absolutely in love with it. What do the studies show with lavender?
Oh, it's also very relaxing. And it's one that's been around since like ancient Egyptian times. There was one that they were doing to chill out back in Egypt.
So
what happens with you with lavender? Do you sneeze also?
No, I get anxious. Lavender. So I was talking about Maui, and we lived there for about 4 years, and near our house was this amazing lavender farm or lavender garden that my wife used to like to take all the guests who would come visit us. When you live on Hawaii, all of your friends appear out of the woodwork, and she would always take them to the lavender farm. I couldn't go because I found I actually got agitated.
Maybe you have an allergy, and that's the feeling that you get. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
We're going to find out because we just bought her, or she just bought it. I said, go ahead, Pookie, all of these lavender plants to put on our deck because we have this whole ecosystem on our deck with hundreds of birds and hummingbirds and squirrels and chippies and these other things that we call skippies, which are a golden squirrel. And she wants to call in the bees. And so she's brought in lavender to call in the bees. There are actually meditation CDs you can get on the sound of the bees buzzing. That turns out is very similar to Om and incredibly calming as well.
I love that. Well, honey's very calming too. There's something in honey that's very relaxing.
So let's go over one more smell.
Oh, sure.
A favorite of mine, peppermint.
Oh, I love peppermint. Peppermint's supposed to be good for headaches too. You put a little on your temples right over here. Or wherever, I guess, if this is not where your headache is, but this is where they suggest, but I guess if you have it over here, you could put it wherever it is. You breathe it in. Peppermint is good. Also, put it on the bottom of your feet because your feet absorb it. And it's very good to, or even make a hot foot bath. Make a little tub of hot water, soak your feet in peppermint. Very calming, very relaxing. Peppermint tea to drink. Also, peppermint, there's so many different ways to enjoy it, and it's very relaxing. I love peppermint.
Very cool. Speaking of relaxing, I guess I will go one more with bergamot.
Ah, yes. I love bergamot. Bergamot is actually like Earl Grey tea flavor. I mean, do you like the smell of Earl Grey tea?
Not so much so, but I'll do a peppermint tea any day of the week.
Ah. Well, bergamot is also very relaxing, and you can, one of the things that I do is I think to myself with bergamot, I take just the little bottle because I have different ways that I do this. And I think to myself, inhale positivity. And then I do exhale negativity. And I breathe it out. So then I do that back and forth for 4 seconds for each one with the little essential oil bottle. And then I also have it going. I love doTERRA. I'm actually an ambassador for doTERRA. So I have all my little essential oils, and I have a diffuser, and I have it right when people walk in. So I kind of hypnotize visitors to my home to immediately be in a good mood. It hits them right as the door opens. They're like, oh, it smells good in here. And then they come in and I automatically hypnotize them to be in a good mood because of my essential oils that they get blasted with.
I want to know, we also, we have a diffuser down by our front door. What's a recommended oil to put by your front door if we want to bliss people out and put them in that state?
Well, I have one that's called Citrus Bliss, which is vanilla and grapefruit together. So you get the best of both worlds, and that's one of my favorites.
Very, very cool.
It's from DoTerra.
And I've tried that one, and I do like that one. So and I do like also, although I find it not blissful, I find them stimulating, things in the orange family. I like it very much, but it kind of gives me a pick me up.
Yeah, citrus in general is a good pick me up. I love eating oranges because afterwards you get like a little aromatherapy,
Yes, yes,
you
yes.
know, side effect that's fantastic.
So let's go from there, and we're going to talk about touch meditations, and I'm going to set the stage. And I used to do this in Central Park with people. Picture
Okay.
taking a sensual walk barefoot through the grass, scrunching your toes as long as it's good, clean grass, and feeling that, what can you tell us? What's going on here, and what are touch meditations?
Well, that's earthing.
Mhm.
It's actually something earthing. And touch meditations, again, is another grounding tool to become aware of, well, it doesn't even have to be, as you say, it could be your feet, it could be your hands, it could be different chakra points. This little fleshy point here is one.
Yeah.
Whenever this is one that I use, like if whatever it is, if I'm at the dentist
That's
or if I'm just
HT7, is
like
that right?
right in here. Yeah. I just kind of do that. Um, and there's a bunch of those in the book that I recommend. Earthing, walking barefoot. I looked because I wasn't sure if this would be true because I live in New York and we don't have as much opportunity for earth. If it would be true, if it would work on earthing barefoot on the ground in your home or shag carpeting. And studies say that it's actually equally. Maybe not. Oh no, I think the studies were equally as good. Uh,
This is an
what is that?
earthing mat right here. So my keyboard is plugged into ground. So I get
Oh,
an earthing sensation. This is plugged into the ground of my electric outlet, which goes to the ground outside. So I can stay connected to the earth whenever I'm at my computer or whenever I'm
you
speaking
are
with
the
someone.
coolest. I want one.
I'll get you information for them. I think this one is probably earthing.com, but I'll get you information.
That's
We'll
so
put that as a link
cool.
for people. So we have earthing below our keyboards. We have earthing, a silver lined sheet on our beds so that we sleep plugged in, connected to the earth as well.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Well, that is one of the benefits, as you're talking about, is like really getting all that good, the positive electrical stuff from the earth.
Yeah.
But then also your feet have different acupressure points. So when your shoes are off, you get that also. So there's some benefits from that. But that is so cool. I have to admit, I never heard of that. So I'm really intrigued.
I'll get you all the information on it. We've written
Definitely.
through, and we tromped the streets of New York, 10 different publishers in a publishing war, a bidding war in New York City as we were tromping barefoot around with my agent for the books Barefoot Walking and Barefoot Running, where we talk about the whole science behind earthing. And in fact, a lot of the science is from a scientist by the name of Clint Ober. And so we got all of these amazing tools for earthing because it reduces your cortisol levels, it decreases your stress, it resyncs you with the earth. And you're right. Then if your feet are touching the earth, then you're getting all of the acupressure benefits as well.
Yeah, so we have no shoe policy here in our home. We make people take off their shoes right away. For again,
Woohoo!
we want our visitors to bliss out. Well, first, we hit them up with the burst of essential oils, then we get them to earth around our home, and then it also obviously protects our home from not having all the muck on the bottom of shoes. So it's like win 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 win.
Absolutely. And then you have a roaming de-stressing device, also
Our
known as
dog Fluffy,
Fluffy.
which is a touch meditation, and studies all over say that having a pet is very relaxing, being around a pet for many reasons. And I believe, and I wrote about this in the book, that part of it is, and Fluffy's right here, is the touch meditation aspect of it. It really does help you refocus on touching the dog, the softness of that. And if you're allergic, you can get like a fake fur blanket and kind of nestle up with that. But petting a dog lowers cortisol. I mean, there's lots of studies like that, that being around a nice fluffy puppy or cat can help you to relax. And
Awesome.
it's a touch meditation.
And one last touch meditation we'll go over here is one that I often do before my interviews, even when I feel I don't have, quote, time, is I throw myself in the shower.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Um, well, when people say they don't have time, I recommend they do what I call a shower power meditation. And first thing in the morning, and you get into the shower, you become aware at first of the temperature of the water. Uh, and then if you have sudsy stuff, the softness of that, if you have like a scrunchy loofah, the roughness of that, whatever you use. And it's all the touch meditation. And then what you do is you envision that you're washing away your stresses and your worries and your fears, and you picture all of that going down the drain. So you use the shower power time to wash away your stress. And it's a form of meditation that you just kind of multitask into your morning.
Beautiful. So let's switch gears from there. Let's talk about taste meditations, and let's talk about the bright side of dark chocolate.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that one up. Well, dark chocolate has something in it that helps people to feel happy. And I recommend that you do this in moderation. I don't recommend that people do too many chocolate meditations, only one chocolate meditation per day. And that it has to be like a little tiny square of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you take the square and you put it in your mouth and you let it melt. And while it's melting in your mouth, all you're supposed to do is just think about the taste of the chocolate. Focus on the chocolate melting in your mouth. And that could take about 2 minutes if you do it right. And that's a great 2-minute taste meditation, which distracts you from your thoughts. If you start to think about those negative thoughts, bring it back to the chocolate. Bring it back to the chocolate until the chocolate has completely melted in your mouth.
Very cool.
And then you get the extra rush of the wonderful happiness hit that dark chocolate gives you.
Absolutely. So let's go from chocolate to something that actually usually balances quite well with chocolate, bananas, and what's a highly appealing meditation. Sorry, couldn't resist.
Well, bananas also have something that's very relaxing in them. And so what I try to do is I made it fun by you take a banana, and I also slow people down because you can eat a banana very quickly sometimes. So I have people take the banana, freeze it in your freezer, and then you get it out. And you just, when you do the banana taste meditation, you do it with the frozen banana. You could cut it up into little pieces or hold it, and you just let the banana melt slowly in your mouth. And you focus only on the taste of banana for the whole time of the meditation. And so you get the benefits of the ingredients in the banana, which calms people. And then you also get the refocusing aspect, the one-pointed meditation of the banana taste.
Beautiful. When we were talking about scent earlier, we started talking about honey. What can you tell us about the power of honeycomb?
Well, again, that has something in it that's very relaxing. And for this meditation, I recommend people get those little straws of honey that they sell because they're already packaged and they're not as messy. And you snip off the tip of it. This is a good one to give to a kid too. And you just sort of like for the 2 minutes, you just focus on the taste of the honey as you suck the honey out of the little straw, and you just keep your mind on the taste. Anytime your mind starts to wander off to a negative thought, a fear, a doubt, you just bring your mind back to the honey in the little straw until you're done the honey that's inside of the straw.
Beautiful. If you were to give us 3 top tips for instant calm, what would they be?
Well, I would say that, again, it would be the stop and swap, that you don't just, if you say to yourself, I have to stop, that's not going to do it. And that's where the sensory meditations come in. So I would just pick your favorites. If it's something that you find fun, you're more likely to do it. Also, that people think that meditation has to be for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes. And quite frankly, 2 minutes is better than 0 minutes. So even if you only give it 2 minutes, take the time for the 2 minutes of meditation. And also, I would say that to do something first thing in the morning and last thing at night, you bookend your day with meditation. And I think that's extremely helpful, because how you start your day is the direction your day goes, and how you end your day can sometimes contribute to how you feel when you wake up in the morning. So if you only have time for meditation, do it first thing in the morning, last thing at night, even for 2 minutes, and you can really shift how your mood is, how your perspective is on your life, your attitude. I would say stack the meditation. If you think to yourself, oh, I forgot to meditate today, that's because you didn't. If you hook the meditation into something that you always do, then you're more likely to do it. So the shower meditation helps because you're already in the shower. Or if it's something that you could do if you always have coffee in the morning, then put something near the coffee that reminds you. If it's one of those little honey things, if it's just the little essential oil by your coffee pot, something that you stack it with something that you're already doing, then you're more likely to meditate.
Woohoo! Where can people go to find out more, Karen, and to find your beautiful book?
Well, my name is Karen Salmansohn, and everybody mangles it. So I'm always going, not salmon, not salmon, not salmon. So I'm pretty much all over the internet with not salmon. So notsalmon.com is my website. Instagram, it's not salmon. Facebook, not salmon. Pinterest, not salmon. Twitter, not salmon. You kind of get the pattern here.
And if I've got that right, it's notsalmon.com. So if you didn't catch notsalmon.com, come on over to inspirenationshow.com and we'll get you over to notsalmon.com. Any last words of wisdom you want to share with us, Karen Not Salmon, today?
Well, it's so funny when you said notsalmon.com. I'm now so calm that I heard notsalmon.com, CALM, instead of calm. I'm like, oh yes, notsalmon.com. But I don't know. I would just say, be so busy loving your life that you have no time for fears, regret, or hate. Just focus on what you love in your life, and just gear your thoughts towards those things that you love, the people you love, the things you love, the little puppy dogs that you love.
So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get instant calm, and begin 2-minute meditating your way to peace today, and shine bright. Woohoo! Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you. You're wonderful. I wish you lived in New York.
I hope you had as calming of an experience with Karen Salmansohn as I did. To check out our latest video, click here, subscribe below.